We are back on Taking Care of Business with our in-studio guests, Jeremy Staat and Wesley Barrientos. So we were talking about
politics.
Politics. You know, Shannon, you sound like Shannon, Jeremy, before she ran. You know, where you just get to the point where you go, you know, I've had enough of this. You know, it's time to change it. And Wesley, going back to your point, I mean, you look at some of these guys and they forget the fact that, you know, they work for us.
Yes, sir.
These are our employees, and hey, if I don't like the job you're doing, I can fire your butt and get you out of there.
Exactly.
And we need to fire more of these guys.
Yes, sir. They shouldn't be allowed to, when they do something bad, they shouldn't be allowed to resign. They should be fired. They should, like in the military, you do something bad, you get a dishonorable discharge, you know. And those guys, if they do something bad, they should get a dishonorable discharge, not get any pension, not get any of their money, because they didn't do their job.
Sure.
Absolutely. I mean, they got to be accountable for their actions, you know, like the whole Winger incident. I mean, this guy's going to get a pension. He's going to be, you know, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's just garbage. You know, whereas a young veteran, maybe a stupid kid does something wrong, he gets dishonorably discharged. I mean, he doesn't get any of his benefits.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? And I think these individuals need to be held to the same sort of standards. You know, absolutely, without a doubt. But the part of the problem is that the individuals that are creating the laws are also the ones that are in the public office, and that's where they're doing what's beneficial to them and not what's beneficial to the people.
Exactly. Well, we've been blessed in California. We've got Gene Fuller in the Senate and Michael Rubio from Bakersfield. We have Shannon Grove and David Valadeo, all quality people, working most of the time for the benefit of all of us. Michael's a little questionable on some of the way he's voted, but all in all, I think they're all doing a great job in California.
Kevin McCarthy, who I think does a fantastic job.
Well, I was talking about the state of California.
But also in the federal end of it.
No, we also have Barbara Boxer and Feinstein.
Oh, my God.
Anyway.
Let's not even go there. Again, about them Dodgers. Go ahead, Clay.
Oh, no, I just wanted to get back on Wesley because I'm sitting here with Wesley right now, and I can see that he's got both. He's wearing a pair of shorts, and he has no legs. And I was wondering, going back to the classroom, when you go to the classroom, do you walk in shorts or do you wear long pants?
Oh, no, I walk in shorts. I am proud of my scars. I'm proud of my prosthetics that I wear in there. And I'm proud to say that I walk in everywhere I go. And, you know.
And Wesley isn't lying about that. And what was it, last fall or last spring, I took him out to the Famosa drag strips, you know, and my brother runs a lot of the security out there. And so we got to come in there and we put him up on the starting line at the drag strips. And, you know, I thought, well, okay, he's got, you know, prosthetics, so let's go ahead and get him a golf cart, right? To let him drive around because it's a pretty big area. And this dude, he wouldn't even drive the golf cart. He goes, no, I'll walk. I said, all right, man. Hey, suit yourself. I drove around that place all over the place. I had a good time. But, you know, he had his young daughter on his shoulders and walking around. I said, man, that's really cool, you know. No matter what, I mean, like I said, the 101st did a great job of brainwashing this guy because he ain't gonna back down and he isn't gonna give up. And that's what I admire in him is that, you know what, he's always got a smile on his face. And like I said, when he made a speech about, you know, life over legs, I mean, that just hit home. And I tell you what, Wesley is a guy that I'm just so grateful that I've met and blessed to have around because he's a great individual.
Now, Wesley, you said you received 2 Purple Hearts.
No, sir, 3.
3 Purple
Yes, sir. Yes, I was wounded twice in my second tour of duty. December 2005, I was wounded by an IED. And in February 8th, 2006, about 3 months after my first Purple Heart, I was wounded again by an RPG. And then I was wounded again December 20th, 2007 on my third tour of duty. And that was the third and final one where I got my legs blown off.
And if you could have, you probably would have gone back again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The only reason why I decided to get out of the military, one was because I had my daughter that was on her way, and the other reason was because they wouldn't let me do my job. They wouldn't let me go back and be an infantryman, which is my dream, which is my love. And for me, there's no other job in the military but an infantryman job. And being on the 101st, serving as a light infantryman, that was just a dream come true. And I wouldn't do anything else.
What's the impact when you first walk in and those kids see you walking in a pair of shorts with prostheses? What kind of impact do you think they're having?
Well, at first they're like, "Who is that? Who are those robo legs?" You know, the first thing like those kids they're like, "Robo legs." Oh my God! You know, depending on the age group, when we're in high school, they treat you different. They're more, mature. But middle school and elementary schools, they're more like robo legs. Oh my God! You know, and then when we actually tell the story about how you get those legs, they're like, "Oh wow," you know.
And I think one of the great little stories that we had too is when we were at Eisler Elementary School. We actually talked to the kids that are deaf and hard of hearing, and they were kind of looking at him, and they'd feel their like little like the little hearing aids or whatever they had going on. They kind of feel theirs, and then look at him and look at him, and they were able to bond with him because they're going, okay, wait a minute, he's got something different on his body, and I've got something different on mine, and it was really cool to see him interact with the kid just because of the fact that they would look at his legs, and then they'd it was really cool.
Yeah,
that's neat.
That has to be extremely rewarding, though, when you go in and you first get the not sure what you're here for or why we're here, and then when you get done to see the positive responses you get from the kids.
Oh, definitely. It was incredible. Like you said, Eisler Elementary was one of the most one of the schools that impacted me the most because there were all these kids, and they were just so happy to have us there. And the whole entire assembly was done both. They sang and spoke, and they also did it in sign language for those kids, and it's just incredible to see that happen. And it touched me very much.
Sure, yeah. Our in-studio guests are Jeremy Staat and Wesley Leon Barrientos.
There's a lot of schools I'm sure would like to have you come. If they wanted to get a hold of you to have you come and do a program, how would they do that?
There's a couple ways they could do it. Right now, the foundational website is on its way. It's not up completely yet, but the email address to contact myself is Jeremy Staat, JeremyStaat @hotmail.com, and then Wesley has his email.
It is Wesley Leon, WESLEON 1200 @ymail.com.
And also, like I said, we just want as many schools as possible. We want to be able to do this for the next 10, 20 years and just be able to bring, like I said, living history. And a big thing, too, is to break the generational gap between what we perceive as veterans and what our veterans really are. I think the kids nowadays, when you tell them veterans, they think of, older guys with long hair and a boonie cover on, bearded.
Like Marty.
Hey, yeah, absolutely.
Hey.
Because the Vietnam guy eras, and I really want to put a new face on what the veterans are because, we can't wait 20, 30 years for our veterans, the Iraqi veterans, exactly. and the guys that are my age and Wesley's age to come back to the table. We need to get them back there now, and I want to really, generate a lot of awareness to the kids so that they know, hey, what, my brother's a veteran. Maybe he can come and speak to my school. Yeah, absolutely. Bring your brother. We want to hear from him.
Sure.
So we want to continue to go and build a speaking board, and also too, is also to put veterans back to work in our community, even if we can't pay them. But hey, if we like with the volunteer with the homeless shelter, I'd like to get a vehicle to have a compressor on the back and a pressure washer and put veterans in those trucks and just let them go out and clean up the city. Hey, there's graffiti over here. They'll go over there and spray it down, because the big thing about it is once they do that, they'll take ownership in that part.
Right.
Because that's what we were instilled in us in the military was, hey, you know what? You own whatever ground you stand on. Mm-hmm. You take pride in that. And so if we can give pride back to our homeless veterans and also bring on our younger veterans and continue this kind of this leadership with them, you know what? This city, this county will be owned by veterans and will be taken care of by veterans, and it won't look like the way it is. We won't have to rely upon the city. We, the veterans, will take this place over.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I remember an interesting story when I was in the service. I went to OCS, and the first day I was there, they said, does anybody here have a college education? So I raised my hand. He said, okay, you pick up the papers and show the other guys how. I learned very quickly not to volunteer for anything.
Oh, you bet.
We always love the voluntold, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Voluntold to do this.
But if we didn't volunteer, we wouldn't have anybody in the service.
Absolutely,
This is true. This is true. You got some great news today that we were going to talk about.
Absolutely. I just received an email this morning from the National Football League Players Association. They're looking for two retired players to go over to Afghanistan for a tour in October, and so I kind of put my application in. And so hopefully I'm going to hear back from that, because I think it'd be a great opportunity for myself and for the foundation to be able to go to Afghanistan and kind of just give some moral support to the troops over there. And I'm really excited about it. I hope it goes through. And not only that, but we've also got the bike ride coming up next February. Wesley and I are going to cruise across the country and raise awareness for our veterans and for schools and for everything else we can raise awareness for.
Well, I have to tell you, because I was there when you came up with that idea, and it was interesting watching you and Sam and Carrie and these guys, just all of a sudden, a little idea just all of a sudden spread, and one thing led to another, and next thing you know, it's just right across America.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be huge, and I'm excited for it, and I can't wait for Wesley and us to be able to bring an awareness and grow the foundation to, what our visions of it. it's going to be. I know it's going to be 10 times larger, and I'm excited about it.
Well, you can count me for a couple legs of that ride, by the way. So I'll do as much of it as I can.
Short legs.
Shortly, in my case. I wanted to thank you guys both for being here, and it's you guys are heroes of mine, and I appreciate the ministry you guys have, and thank you guys so much for being here, and have a great 4th of July.
Thank you, you too, and thank you for having us.
Thank you as well. And remember what 4th of July is for. It's our our country's independence, and it's only because of the veterans that we have that kind of independence. So just remember that when you're lighting off your fireworks out there, people.
So if you see a veteran out at a restaurant, pick up his tab.
There you go.
Absolutely.
We'll see you in 167 hours on Taking Care of Business.